Welcome, welcome, dear sister soul. A very blessed eclipse portal to you. So I'm so happy that you're here because I'd love to share with you the energy and the impetus behind this Lionsgate portal transmission that I'll be offering. This is one of the most personal and I would even say risque transmissions and activations that I have yet to offer. And it's mainly personal because it is drawing upon and accessing my deepest soul template for Great Mother Gnosis, for Great Mother embodiment that I have been incarnating with for eons on this earth plane now. And risque because it inherently within that breaks down a lot of the constructs and the ideas about history, about spiritual practice, about what we are designed to do and be as feminine beings on this planet. As it is the way with the Great Mother, she will always challenge us to dissolve away old structures, outdated or untrue, things that are not based on the reality of what it is to be a feminine being walking on the earth at this time. She will always take us into the deepest recesses of our soul to find the truth within us, to access our universal gnosis and be able to bring that forward as a healing balm for all of life. And so it is that this activation series is based on my own remembrance of previous incarnations, very, very ancient incarnations, even back to 10,000 BC, directly after the fall of Atlantis. And my experiences in that time as being an embodiment of the Great Mother consciousness and being a vessel for her healing on this planet, as many were at the time. And so one of the things that has been shown to me from one of these incarnations, my first 4 or 5 incarnations took place in ancient Egypt. And in one of these incarnations, I was living and practicing in the temple that we now call the Sphinx. And what I began to see when I was last year, right about the same time during the Lionsgate portal, which I at the time had no idea existed. But I was starting to have these remembrances of being and practicing in this temple. And I'd had these remembrances for years now, but I was starting to see more clearly what actually happened there. And the first thing I was shown that was quite astonishing for me was that the Sphinx was actually a temple to the Great Mother. She was built as a temple to the Great Mother. And then right through the top of the head of the Sphinx, there was a column that at a certain time of year during the Lionsgate portal, this column would line directly up with the star Sirius. And if you're not familiar with Sirius, Sirius is one of the brightest stars, if not the brightest star we see at night, very close to Mother Earth. And in the inner landscape, Sirius and Venus are designed to stream down immense, immense spiritual energy and divine light into Mother Gaia. And during the Lionsgate portal, when Sirius is closer to Mother Earth, this light is amplified. And there are very specific downloads that come directly from the source womb of life, the source womb of the Great Mother, come down through Sirius where it is amplified and then stream down into Mother Earth during this portal. The portal lasts for about 10 or 11 days, starts before that at beginning of eclipse season, the end of July, and then it extends to about August 12th. But the main intensity of it is about 11 days from the beginning of August until August 11th or 12th. And there is another eclipse on August 11th where it peaks again. And the very peak epicenter day is August 8th. Right around then, when Sirius is directly aligned with Mother Gaia, and the ancient Egyptians knew this. They built the Sphinx temple and the pyramids so that during that time, that Lionsgate portal, so the Sphinx was actually dedicated to the Lionsgate and the Great Mother consciousness coming through. And so during that day, that serious energy would stream right in through this column that was hollowed, this hollowed out tube in the top of the Sphinx, and then come down. And right in between the paws of the Sphinx, there was a temple. And you could enter into that place with special permission and receive initiation directly from the Star Seer's Great Mother initiation that came in, especially for your soul at that time. And the first time that I received that initiation, I was 7 years old in that lifetime. And I came in and I received this massive download of Great Mother consciousness that encompassed all of the aspects of the Great Mother, especially in the Egyptian panorama at the time, and all of her consciousness, her cosmic body, and her purpose here on earth. It was downloaded in this massive influx of light and energy into my very small body at the time. And so from that moment forward, my life was dedicated to this temple. And many things happened during that time, which I won't get into right now. But what I want to convey is that, first of all, it was astonishing to even see this, that the Sphinx was a temple to the Great Mother. And then when I researched it a little bit after that, I didn't find anyone else that was saying that, which is kind of normal when you start looking at history and understanding that history was written by men in a very patriarchal system that had a very skewed view of things that went on. And so then I realized at a certain time in the Egyptian history that the Sphinx was then changed into a masculine deity, as many of the deities were, and many of her qualities were taken on by the masculine, and that the actual facade was changed. And if you actually look at the Sphinx, you can see that the head is a different color than the rest of the body. And so when I received this, when I had this remembrance, I simultaneously received this initiation again down through my crown and through my body. And again, I had no idea about the Lionsgate. I didn't even know it existed. And then at a certain point, because this process was lasting for days and even for weeks, this process of remembrance, and there was a lot of healing that needed to happen about traumas that happened later on in that lifetime. And then when I realized and had found out through some research that it was this Lionsgate portal time, then all the pieces started coming together, and I realized that I had received that initiation directly at the time of the Lionsgate in Egypt when I was incarnated eons and eons ago. And so this brought me and catapulted me into a whole new understanding of the way that time works, and opened up the gateways for me to access that lifetime again and go in there and not only heal, but also do some divine works with the planet that needed to happen at that time. And so when I speak of these things, of this accessing of the gnosis of the Great Mother, the invitation is always to trust our own inner experience over anything that we have read, anything that is being talked about in history, because history is very, very skewed towards the masculine. But then also learn to feel the vibrations of what it is that we're realizing, and whether or not we feel that it is quote unquote true. If it lands for us in a powerful way, if it catapults us into greater and greater states of love, of oneness, of service to life, then it has served its purpose. And so that's the true divine purpose of these activations, in which we'll be traveling into that time in Egypt and receive initiation from the Great Mother Sphinx Temple on 8/8 on the Lionsgate portal epicenter. And we'll also be traveling into even prehistory Egypt, right after the time of Atlantis, and receive initiation and healing from that time when many, many who were healers and beings that came in as a soul from other incarnations on other planes to help Mother Gaia to heal from the trauma of the fall of Atlantis. And this period of time was absolutely pivotal to what would unfold in the Egyptian panorama later. And then also pivotal to those souls who came in during that time and the setting of their dedicated service to life for eons forward. And so many of us who are drawn to the womb of life, many of us who are mystical feminine healers, who are teachers, who feel that impetus to work on the deepest possible level from the Great Mother's source womb. Many of us were incarnated during that time. Many of us know this place of gnosis deep within us. We know deep and resonate deep within our wombs, deep within our hearts, deep within our souls. We know there is something absolutely massive yet to realize about Great Mother consciousness. And that by opening to the full realization of who she is within us, to the immensity of her cosmic beingness, we enter into true ecstatic belonging with the universe. We refine and land in our place of self, our place of soul. We find home within ourselves, and we walk through life in a greater knowing of our divine purpose here as mystical feminine beings on this planet at this time. And so that's the invitation I have for you, dear sister soul. If this resonates anywhere, if it rings a bell of truth inside of you, come and discover what lies in these ancient realms for you and your ancient soul, for the mystical template of the Great Mother that you're here to embody, and for your most divine purpose of love, of gnosis, and of healing for all of life at this very crucial time on Mother Gaia. All of my love to you. Great blessings again for this Eclipse Lionsgate portal season, and I hope that you'll join us. Namaste.